Well, welcome everybody. Scott Ailes with Dryce Cleaning Solutions, or eventually DryceNation.com. It's not up yet, so don't go there. We're evolving. Ironic that this particular machine that we're going to present to you today is an EVO. That's the last part of the nomenclature of the machine. We are extraordinarily excited to share with you that we are the exclusive distributor in the United States and Canada for the ICS line of dry ice cleaning machines or blasting machines. I spent a great deal of time exploring a machine that would allow the effect that I was experiencing with the very expensive system that I've been using for the last 2 years. I spent over 100 grand to set that machine up. This machine solves some really interesting challenges and problems that those larger systems create. They are fabulous. They are necessary. When you get underneath the car, you got to have that power. This machine's really interesting sweet spot is something that you probably haven't seen anywhere yet. We haven't spent any time exposing it, but we're going to do that today, and we're going to do it in a very, very big way with this Honda Accord. 115,000 mile car that gets parked underneath an oak tree often. And so we're going to use this ICS machine, this ICO22 Evo, and we're going to power it with our big compressor, but that compressor in the background is a 10 horse Quincy that eventually will pair up with this machine. We like this machine mostly because it's not as loud as the big machine, so you can use it virtually anywhere in a shop. It does not require a huge compressor. You probably have a compressor large enough to run this machine, and it's incredibly mobile to move around. It doesn't have a big 1-inch hose. It doesn't have a power cord. It's fully pneumatic. We plug in the air line in the back, we put dry ice in the hopper, and we start cleaning. It doesn't require an intensive training session to be able to operate and get the benefits out of the machine. The quality of the machine, I was most skeptical just because until I touch it and feel it and see it and use it, I'm not ready to sign off on it. So my very first tactile experience was this. I just love that sound. It's like a drug. This nozzle, to me, is like a work of art. I mean, it's just machined so beautifully. It caused me to get excited enough that when I first got the machine, I pulled the cover off. I want to see the guts of this thing. I want to see how this thing is made. Fiberglass cover that is as thick as some boats that I've owned. I mean, it's just incredibly thick. It only weighs 14 pounds. So I've been using this thing for over a month. Some of my team members have been using it as well, and we're just blown away. It's got a few shortcomings that we're working through. Nothing that's a deal breaker, and the positives are way outweighing those small little issues that we're working on, and we really have them resolved. So we're excited about that. We want to bring this to you today and just let you know that we'll have our first order of machines the end of June, the beginning of July, and then we'll have every 30 days another plus or minus 30 machines. So everything that I touch and feel and look at on this machine is quality, and I'm excited. I can now endorse it. I did caution the company when we started our relationship, or the potential of our relationship, that everything was based on my experience in actually using the machine. So we've crossed over that experience, and we are completely excited to show it to you. Can't wait to show you what's going to happen to this Honda Accord. And the clue, or the thing that's most critical, I want you to understand, we're not putting this car up in a lift. We're not cleaning the underside of this car. We're going to take this pretty dirty car and we're going to clean the entire exterior, trim, wheels, tires, wheel wells. We're not going to touch it with a drop of water. How do you think that's going to move into the industry, and how fast? We think it's an incredible opportunity. We're excited to show it to you, and let's just get started. We'll get some great before and afters and durings, and so let's get to it. So the main principle that you need to understand as you're thinking about cleaning with dry ice is the friction and abrasive nature of the dirt. So the mission is to remove the abrasive materials so that when we mist with a detailer afterwards and give it that final wipe down, we have not scratched the surface. We haven't ruined any ceramic coatings. We haven't hurt anything. That's why you use a pressure washer first on cars. You want to get the big stuff off, get rid of the abrasive material, so that when you go on with your mitt and suds and soap and foam, that you have less chance of abrading the surface. We don't have any chance. We don't have any chance of abrading the surface because we're taking that abrasive material off so that now as you see the finished product, you can appreciate that we haven't distorted or changed that finish. What about wheels and tires? Well, I have a personal passion to not put products on tires that will sling off on my car after it's done and I'm driving down the road at 70 miles an hour. So I prefer the dry look. Well, dry ice cleaning tires is an extraordinary experience. What you see in a dirty tire is almost unbelievable in the finished result because you're down to the original rubber tire, like it came out of the mold, exactly like you'd want it to be, and it doesn't have any sticky material on it to collect dust and dirt as you use and drive the car or wherever you park it. Brake dust, it's common to have this challenge in and around the lug nuts and then behind the rim, and there's no effect to the surrounding area or to that spot. We've just dry cleaned it. This is like dry cleaning. You take your clothes to your dry cleaner. This is what we're doing. We're dry cleaning cars. So what about the motor? I mean, look at all the competing and complex systems that are in this engine bay. It's all filthy. It's all dirty. There's oil and dirt and just all kinds of inappropriate things that you want in an engine bay. Like just the leaves alone in this particular car is crazy, right? So it's really hard to explain how gratifying. My videographer, Mr. Michael, he says, you know, the strange thing about this is I find it exciting to be able to see something this dirty knowing what it's going to turn out to be. You actually find yourself, when you're dry ice cleaning, looking forward to doing really unpleasant tasks normally. And that's, I think, probably one of the biggest game changer mentalities. I've had plenty of guys come to train with us here, and what happens is they come a little begrudgingly, like they were sent by their owner or employer, and by the time they leave, they don't want to do their previous job, they only want to do dry ice. Because it's transformational. I mean, even in the interior, look at this interior, the WeatherTech floor mats. You know, have you ever tried to clean one of those? It's very challenging and difficult to get those looking new again. So it doesn't stop under the car. It doesn't stop in the wheel wells. This dry ice process goes over the entire car if you understand and have the right tools. The ICS 022 Evo is that tool. And it's not going to break the bank. It's 10 grand delivered to your door in the US and Canada. It's not 100 grand or 85 grand. Have you ever opened the trunk or a door or a hood and looked at the seam sealer where the two panels come together? If it's sat outside in a humid environment, that seam sealer turns black, just like this. If you've tried to clean this, it's doable. Mildew remover, chemicals, spray, you know, breathing that stuff in. It's doable, but wouldn't you rather do it like this? Wouldn't you rather have it look this good, this fast, and have it be dry when you're done, and not worry about getting the water all over the inside of the car? We have a saying in dry ice cleaning that if you can see the dirt, we can take it off. You might think casually that's no big deal, but it's a big deal because there's a lot of places on a car you can't get to them. So if you can see it with your eyes, all you have to do is make sure that you're pointing the gun at that same place in that same trajectory, and you're going to clean it. And it's going to look like it's brand new again. Well, we appreciate you watching, and you're probably looking or watching the after video portion right now, which obviously looks great, right? But we don't want to mislead you either. It's not that you can't use this machine under the car. It's just there's certain cars you can't expect that it's going to work well. So it does not perform well, and it wasn't designed to perform well on heavy or thick materials. But if you have a late model car that has little or no cosmoline, or most domestics that are 2, 3, 4 years old, you can go underneath those cars and clean them like they're brand new again. It's extraordinary. So, you know, I like to say the machine is set up because you probably already have the compressor that will run it big enough in your shop. Instead of spending 100 grand, you spend 10 grand, but you can do 60% of the work for a tenth of the cost. So we really want to encourage you to understand how this can change everything that you've considered or wanted to do as it pertains to detailing and presenting things, whether for sale or for your own use. And we are excited to bring this line of equipment to you. If you have more questions, you're probably going to be best served to consider joining our Patreon group. It's an extraordinary community, and that's what we believe is the success of the Dryce brand in the future. We're building a community of people, of resources, where people can share ideas and benefits with one another, and mistakes and fails, and avoid these challenges. So consider going to our Patreon. It's just patreon.com/Dryceman. Or look in the comments. We have that. Look forward to engaging with you. Appreciate you taking the time to consider this, and we'll look forward to making you one of the Dryce Nation. Thank you.